Lionel Messi has said that he thinks Steven Gerrard is England's greatest player. And I have to say this, as a big Liverpool and Steven Gerrard fan, he was one of my favorite players growing up. This just confirms all my biases. Steven Gerrard is the best England midfielder, at least, to ever play the game. And I do think he is very likely the best England player ever. And he is still Liverpool's greatest ever player. Mohamed Salah might give him a run for that, though. But it's a very common thing, especially with the debate with whether Steven Gerrard, Paul Scholes, or Frank Lampard as the best midfielders from England for that era. And there's a lot of people who really just don't like Gerrard for that. But I think with the names that have come out and picked Gerrard, this debate should be decided already. Zinedine Zidane is another one that picks Steven Gerrard as the best of the bunch. He talks about how he tried to get Steven Gerrard signed to Real Madrid twice. I have said in the past that at his peak, he was the best in the world. I think it was the summer of 2004. I was having a conversation with Florentino Perez, and I told him I wanted him to partner me in midfield for Madrid. I know the club tried twice, but he wouldn't leave Liverpool. Not many players turned down Real Madrid, but I think that tells you a lot about the loyalty of the man. Wayne Rooney also said this: Stevie could come to United and do what Scholes could do, but I don't think Scholes could go and do what Stevie did at Liverpool. And you know what? I completely agree with him. But probably one of the best takes, and for me this is the icing on the cake, was Paul Scholes himself when he was asked who was the better of the players, himself or Steven Gerrard. He said, I can answer that. Gerrard. Gerrard's a great player. We're different, very different. He's an athlete. I think he's more of a match winner, but he was playing in a team where he probably had to. But to round it off, also you have to factor in this. We know that both Sir Alex Ferguson tried to sign Steven Gerrard for Manchester United, and Jose Mourinho tried to sign Gerrard for Chelsea, the teams that had Scholes and Lampard. But the opposite was not really the case. It wasn't all these teams coming after Scholes and Lampard in nearly the same way. And I'm not trying to say that Scholes and Lampard were not fantastic players. They were in their own right. And all of them are probably slightly better at certain things. For one, I think Paul Scholes was probably the best passer of all three of them. Frank Lampard was probably the best finisher of all three of them. But Steven Gerrard was the best player of all of them. And part of the reason is while Scholes was a better passer, it's not like Steven Gerrard was a bad passer. He was a very, very good one, just not quite Scholes. And while Lampard was a better finisher, Steven Gerrard scored tons of goals because he was still a very, very good finisher. But Gerrard, much better on the ball. He was a much better dribbler. He was much more athletic. He was much better defender. And he was a far more versatile player than either of the other two players. Steven Gerrard, for me, he's the most complete midfielder England has ever produced, and he is the best Liverpool player of all time.